Here's how to see your abs in 5 steps. I'm gonna say this in less than 5 minutes is what I meant to say. All right, so the first step is gonna be high protein calorie deficit, guys. It's gonna be the most important thing, I'm not gonna lie. Without this, you are not going to lose any fat, guys. Calorie deficit is the only way to lose fat, guys. High protein is gonna ensure that you're maintaining as much muscle as possible. And also, make sure that you're eating more whole foods, fruits, vegetables, lean meats, protein bars, protein shakes, eggs. Keep it pretty simple. Don't eat a lot of fast food. Don't eat a lot of candy. Don't eat a lot of chips. Keep the processed food to a minimum. Number 2 is going to be tracking your calories, all right? Because if you're trying to save money, you got to know how much you're making and how much you're spending. Same thing for calories. You got to know how much you're actually eating, all right? It's very, very, very important. You got to make sure you're hitting the right numbers, hitting enough protein, not going over your calories every day. Obviously, if you're not in a calorie deficit, you're not going to lose weight, like I said. But if you're not tracking how much you're eating, how could you know if you're in a deficit or not? So make sure that you're tracking your calories. Number 3 is going to be prioritizing strength training. I know a lot of people focus on cardio. Strength training is more important, especially when you want to see your abs, all right? So make sure that you're doing compound movements that work the core. You got deadlifts, you got squats, you got lunges, you got bench, pull-ups, all of those. You're really going to feel your core. Dumbbell rows, you'll feel your core, all right? And you'll be working your abs just enough. The next step is going to be, of course, make sure that you increase your step count, all right? So if you're doing 2K steps per day, bump it up to 5. If you're doing 5K steps per day, bump it up to 10. So make sure you're increasing your activity levels just so you can lose more fat, of course. And then another thing that I see a lot is you got to realize where you are, all right? You got to look on a GPS. You know where you're going, but you got to see where you are, all right? A lot of you guys don't know where you are. For example, say you're in New York and you're like, all right, bet, I'm about to drive to Los Angeles in 2 hours. It's like, do you know that you're in New York right now? It's gonna take longer than 2 hours to get to Los Angeles. Same concept when it comes to seeing your abs. Obviously, if you're 15% body fat, it'll take you way less time to see your abs than, someone who's 40% body fat. Matter of fact, if you're 15% body fat, you could probably see your upper abs already. So it's a body fat percentage game, guys. You gotta be between 10 to 15% to see your abs. So if you're at 20% and you're trying to get down to 15%, yeah, it'll take like 8 to 12 weeks, depending on how aggressive you are. But if you're at 40%, it's going to take longer for you to get to that goal. So realize that before you go in there. Because if you're in New York and you're trying to get to Los Angeles in 2 hours by car, you're going to be disappointed when you're still in New York after 2 hours. All right. So you got to know where you're starting so you can know how long it's going to take you to get to where you need to get to. All right. Those are the simple tips. Apply those. You're going to see your abs. You don't apply those, obviously you won't see your abs.